Welcome students. This is part 2 of chapter number 15, improvement in crop varieties. Improvement in food resources. So our topic is cropping patterns. This cropping pattern involves the raising of crops so as to obtain the maximum benefit from the same piece of land. It reduces the risk of the crops failure, disease, etc. due to diseases, etc. And for this purpose, the crops can be grown in different ways. Some of them are mixed farming, intercropping, and crop rotation. Mixed cropping practice means the cultivation of two or more crops simultaneously on a same piece of land. For example, wheat and gram, wheat and mustard, groundnut, sunflower, is grown simultaneously at the same time in the same field. The advantages of mixed cropping is that it will improve the soil fertility, it will help to and it will help to cope up the risk of total crop failure due to uncertain monsoon is if uncertain monsoon is reduced. It gives some insurance against failure of one of the crops. If one of the crop is failed, the farmers can depend on the growing of the other crops. The next one is intercropping. In intercropping, two or more crops are grown simultaneously on the same field but in a definite pattern. They will follow a pattern for the growth of the crops. The few rows of one crop alternate with the few rows of the other crop. The crops for this intercropping are selected on the basis of their nutrient requirements. Suppose two crops must have different nutrients from each other to be selected for the intercropping cropping patterns. For example, soybean and maize, finger millet and cowpea. Advantages of this intercropping are that it ensures that the maximum nutrient is utilized by the crops and it will give better output of the crops. It prevents the spread of pest diseases to all the plants of one crop in a field. Both the crops will give better return, that is better output will be obtained from both the crops. And the last one is crop rotation. In crop rotation, different crops are grown on a piece of land in a pre-planned succession, that is pre-planned series. The crop combination depends upon the duration of crops. If one crop is grown in a field and after its harvest a second crop is grown on the same field, this can also follow a third crop. The crop to be chosen after one harvest depends upon the availability of moisture and irrigation facilities. Next is crop protection management. So we have already discussed about the improvement of crops, its variety, and how can we improve its cropping patterns and all. So the last one is crop protection management. How can we protect the crops before harvesting? How can we protect the crops? So in the fields, the crop should also be protected from weeds, insects, pests, and diseases. This crop protection management includes different methods which help reduce such kinds of infestations, that is diseases and all. If not controlled at a right time, they will cause heavy damage to the crops in a way that most of the crops will be destroyed. So various threats that are faced during the crop protection is the growth of weeds. The first is the growth of weeds. Weeds are the unwanted plants that is cultivated in the land with the compete for nutrition and space with the wanted crops. So weeds take up the nutrients and reduce the growth of the desired crop. Thus, they should be removed during early stages of crop growth in order to obtain good harvest. Some of the examples of weeds are mentioned: xanthan, parthenium, cyprinus rotundus. All these weeds compete for food, space, and light. Weeds can be removed by mechanical methods and preventive methods. In mechanical methods, it is uprooted with the help of hand during plowing, burning, and flooding. And preventive methods include at the time of seedbed preparation, proper care should be taken, and sowing of crops, intercropping, and crop rotation will prevent the growth of these weeds, or by using weedicides at the time of sowing the seeds will also prevent the growth of weeds. Next is the insect pest. Insect pests attack the plants in following ways. It will cut the root, stem, and leaf. Example, this locust. They will suck the cell sap from various parts of the plant. They will enter into the stem and fruit and will spoil the seeds of the fruit. Pests can be controlled in many ways with the use of resistant strains, disease resistant strains. Summer plowing: in this method, fields are plowed deep during summers to destroy weeds and pests. The third one is crop diseases. Diseases in plants are caused by pathogens such as bacteria, fungus, and viruses. These pathogens are present in the soil and transmitted through the soil, water, and air. These crop diseases can be controlled by the use of pesticides like herbicides, insecticides, fungicides. These pesticides are sprayed on the crop plants in limited amount. Its excessive use of these chemicals will be harmful to the plants and even to the animals, or even to the human beings. When it is flown, when soil erosion takes place, these pesticides also will mix up with the water, air, soil, and everything, and it causes environmental pollution. The last one is storage of grains. During storage of grains, high losses can occur in agricultural produce. The factors that are responsible for losses can be categorized as biotic factors and abiotic factors. These biotic factors include the effects of rodents, fungus, insects, mites, and bacteria. And the abiotic factors include the inappropriate temperature conditions, moisture conditions in the place of storage. These factors affects the grain, like they will degrade its quality, they will reduce its germinative capacity, they will cause discoloration of the product into the product, and the weight of the crops will also be reduced. All this will lead to the poor marketability and heavy economic losses. So to prevent and control, we can take measures during storage, and the measures include the proper storage of grains by proper treatment and systematic management of warehouses, by strict cleaning of the produce before storage, proper drying of the produce in sunlight and then in shade, and then packing it, fumigation to kill the pest. In fumigation, the insect pests are exposed to fumes of chemicals. Some kind of chemicals are sprayed that will kill the insects pest, and thus we can protect the grains from destruction or degradation or decoloration, etc.